Hello, everyone. Welcome to our October Product Update webinar, where you'll learn what's new in Klient. Thanks for joining us today. If you can hear us and see us, you can go ahead in the chat and say hi. All right, let's get started. So, my name is Rosalie. I'm part of the Klient Customer Success team at Klient, and I will be your host today. We also have our CEO, Yanick. Hi, Yanick.
Hi, Rosalie. Very excited to be here. We have a lot to show. Our team has been very productive.
Yep, a lot of good news. And then we also have our project advisor, Natalie, who will be answering any questions you have today in the Q&A and in the chat. All right, let's go to the next slide. Just quick housekeeping. How can you be the best webinar participant ever? Very easy, a couple of things you can do. Just make sure you participate to our polls. We're going to have a couple of them throughout the webinar. It just helps our team understand you guys better, customers. You can also use the react button at the bottom where you can send us some emojis if you like something we're talking about, if you don't like it. And finally, if you have any questions, you can head over to the Q&A where Natalie is going to be able to jump in and help you out. And then you can use the chat, of course. So let's go ahead and already start with our first poll. So let's launch it now. Is this your first Klient webinar? So yes, no, I'm a regular. No, I've been to a couple. I'm curious to see who we have today. Give you a couple more seconds. I see we have a lot of regulars, it's always the same. We have a couple of new ones and then a couple of people in that you're not on your first webinar. All right. Thank you so much for answering. All right. And let's go to our agenda. All right. So today, what are we going to talk about? We're going to cover the features available in version 49.9.2, which was released at the end of September, so about a month ago. We're also going to talk about the product roadmap, so our next releases. And then we're also going to be ending the webinar with some new content that's available that we created in the past few weeks, and then a couple of best practices. So let's dive right into it. Yanick?
Perfect. Thank you, Rosalie. So let me go to Klient, and I'll jump and show you directly the global workspace. So you should be seeing my screen now. On the global workspace, you can see on the left side the list of all your projects. And in the past few releases, we've been improving a lot the ergonomics, the usability, and also we've been introducing a lot of visual cue to help you manage your project. So one of the first things you can notice here, it's our new menu bar. So we've grouped a lot of things, so everything is there's a lot more space, everything is cleaner. Also, if you recall from a few releases, we've introduced in regards of visual cue, those RAG indicators, so about schedule, scope, and budget. We also have one for project help to really have your brain pick up on key messages and early warnings sooner. Those are interesting, those column here, because those are based on Salesforce formula field. So you can, as a customer, even customer your own fields and put any kind of images or icons based on whatever kind of logic. So you can even build your own. So just doing a quick recap and about past stuff that's also related to that visual cue. If you recall as well from the last webinar, now we have the opportunity to put some placeholder picture and images to your resource. So it gives a lot more clarity in terms of future pipeline project. So this is great. And also with the combination of emojis that you can add on the task name, it just brings a little bit more color into your life. So please start using those, as it's going to make your life easier and the life of you tracking your project a lot easier. Okay, so now let's go back to the new stuff. So we're going to be looking at the menu. I'm going to go from left to right. So first, you have your status indicator. When it's spinning, wait a little bit. And here you also have the refresh button that's clearing the list below. And it's a lot faster than just hitting the refresh browser button. We'll be looking at those later, but we have the grouping of the timeline and also the different view we have, again, grid and timeline. And I'm going to shuffle through those in the project edition later on during the demo. And we've introduced from the global workspace a way for you to easily access other interface. or other lenses that we have, such as the global Kanban and the resource planner. Before I move to the rest, I didn't mention, but if you don't have it in your menu bar here, you should be adding it. If you don't have it, and it's been the global workspace has been there for a while, so you can just launch it for the app launcher as well. So make sure that this is available to you and your teammates because it does give you an amazing portfolio view of all your project. So let's move into the new stuff with that C% complete bar toggle. So now, again, it's not just to make everything prettier. It's a lot of information that is conveyed, and your brain, again, is picking up very quickly. So at a glance, you can already know and see where you stand in terms of your project progress with that progress bar we have here. We'll see later on that this is also editable, so it's inline editable. Moving on the right side, we have put all the filter of project filters, task filters together. And there's a milestone view that I don't know if you start using it, but that milestone view is awesome when you want to unclutter your project and really focus on key indicators, such as, for example, key dates during your project. So you can really just remove all the noise of the 100 of tasks you might have and just focus really on the milestone that you've agreed on in terms of timeline with your customer. And in terms of visual cues, the pink diamonds are the one that are just dates, and the black one are related with cash. So when their mark is complete, they're available to invoice. So those are only one of the few views that we have that's going to help you really structure your project. And again, because in the menu bar, we've restructured, regroup some of the stuff, and we always have access to your preset that you can build yourself. And now we've released as well some share preset and some out-of-the-box presets coming with the product that we're going to keep improving as well. Just before, Rosalie, before we jump in and look at the project milestone and all the improvement we did there, in terms of visual cue, we've added another one, which is the status column. The status column already exists, but now it's color-coded. And again, it's color-coded not only on the project side of things, but it's also color-coded on the task side of things, so you can easily see what's blocked and what's at risk. And this is the version 1 of those two color indicators, status and percentage complete. In version 2 in November, they're even sharper in terms of their design. There's the margin, and there's things. It was not pixel perfect here. It will be pixel perfect in the next release. But this is awesome. It's already proving a ton of value to your customer. I'm going to show you later on how you can easily configure those colors. So far, so good, Rosalie?
Yeah, so far so good. And I think it's been this release and some other release, we've did a lot of menu bar redesigns. Some of the things we're showing are new, some are old. Some of them you may think are new, but have been there the whole time. So my recommendation would be just after today, just have a look at all our menu bars and just click on everything to see what you've used and not used in the past. So yeah.
Yes, the question was about the color pre-configuration. So I'm going to show you where you can change it, and depending if you're yes, they are configurable in terms of the software. If you like our current color scheme, we can send it to Rosalie. I was thinking about it this morning. We can send it over to our customer if they want to replicate our color scheme. Okay. So now let's jump. I think Rosalie, you want to do the other poll at this point?
Yeah, so let me just go and grab it. All right, so let's just go here. Yeah, so essentially we're talking a lot about the workspace. We did a poll back in the days we did a poll back in the day to know who's using the workspace, who's not using the workspace. It looks like most people are using it. So I just popped a workspace here. We're just curious to understand how you're using it. So which workspace interface do you use? Do you use the global workspace? That would be the one that you're seeing now with all the projects. Do you use the project workspace, which is just one project and you see all the tasks? Maybe you don't use any workspaces at all. If you use both the global and project, you can check both. And then if you have no idea what we're talking about, hopefully that's not the case, but you can select the last option.
Let's fix this for the next webinar.
Yeah, and from what I've been hearing from customers, I would think that most people are using the project workspace. Some of them don't even know we have the global one. That's why I probably showed it earlier, Yannick. But
Yeah, exactly. And seriously, it's in terms of project management and overview. So it's giving you like a really control center of all your project. It's a dream for PMOs and project manager and even resource manager, as we'll see later on.
yeah, and in terms of result, just so everybody knows, there's like 80% of people that said they're using project workspace, and there's just 25% for the global. So
Perfect.
that's
So let's change this for the next webinar. Okay, so now let's jump into one specific project. So we're going to be looking at this one. So by clicking that pen icon, I'm entering edit mode, and now this is the project workspace. So it's very similar, right? Just that now I'm looking at one specific project, and let me just switch my view quickly, and I use this preset here to look at this project. So first thing we can see is that the menu again has changed, so a lot cleaner, a lot of thing group. This one had a lot of button before. Now everything is well placed under each other menu, and we're gonna go through those. So first, that button gonna bring you back in the global workspace. This is the status, the refresh. This is the collapse and expand all. So it does help, and we have a right click stuff that I'm gonna show later on too. You can shift between your scale here on the right side on your timeline if you want to be looking at your project timeline in weeks, months, days. And we have those interface here. What we're currently looking at now are those in the lens of a Gantt. A Gantt is built of the grid. So if you just want to see the grid, or if you just want to see the timeline, you can have access to those. And we also have that nice assignment UI that's giving you the different roles on your projects and the number of hours that didn't assign. And if it's a billable project with some revenue, you have that information too. So let me go back to the Gantt view. You can flip and have it in full screen mode. So when you have a really long project and you want to kind of look at a better landscape, you can flip into full screen mode. We've grouped all our action under one menu. So let me click on the task. Now we have like the choose assignee, the baseline, indent, undent, rescheduled task are available under action menu. And you have access as well to the global workspace Kanban planner directly from here, including also the project status report. And we're bonifying those action and menus in the next release also.
That's a good point. A lot of people don't know how to access their project status report as well. So there's another way you can do it.
Yeah, and we're making the workspace kind of central point, so you can access everything else from here. So we're making like in terms of usability, making it simpler. If you stick everything at one place, it's easier than go back to your project. We're gonna see other ways later on, but yeah, that's why the kind of change we're making. It's really to make everything a lot easier to work with. Again, here we have our toggles. So we have that percentage complete, and just look at that big difference between having a number and that visual indicator. You can also toggle your baseline, critical path, slack time. If you don't know what those are, we can have another webinar talking about it. We have our task filter, and in this case, let me switch to my active task only. So now I'm going to see only the open tasks or in progress or not started tasks. So all the completed one have been dropped. And again, we have our presets that you can create your own, and we have all default presets that are coming in with the system, plus our export that's all grouped into one button. So from here, let me just add another column that has color coding, which is our task column. For now, it's only on the task. Moving forward, eventually, we're going to bring it back also on the product side, on the project side, I'm sorry. But here you can see that now I have a priority column that is configurable in terms of color. Let's say I want to move this one to a high priority, and let's say that the status is blocked. And actually I've been working a little bit on it, so I'm gonna mark it to 30%, my percentage complete. So as you can see, I can change all of this grid live, and it's all part of that new UI and usability of giving you visual cues, while also access to action right on with the fewest click possible. From here, I think we can move to the other portion. What's new? What we've added is a lot of right-click options. So if I'm right-clicking on this task here, you can see that I'm able to do add a task above, add a task below. I can choose my assignee, delete task. But also what we've put into the, you can do the indent, but let me try to do the indent. And I want to show a few warning and a few usability features we provided as well. So because now we are filter, when you want to indent stuff, or you might break some linkage that you don't see. So we're warning you. We're not stopping you, but we are warning you. So this is what is saying here. So I'm not going to move it. And let's say I'm doing the same, but I'm doing it via drag and drop. It's going to tell me the exact same thing, like, watch out, you're going to break that linkage here that we see on the right by doing this because you're creating a new child. So that's one way. And that if I do move it and it doesn't break anything, but it's just because the filter are applied, because you might not know exactly what you're doing when you have a filter apply. It's going to tell you, yes, you want to do it, yes, and it's going to ask you if they want to remember it for the current browser session. So it's not going to annoy you with those pop up all the time.
Yeah, and just to clarify, this warning is something that's new in this release.
Yeah. Pretty much all that right click stuff that we've been showing, it's all new in this release. And the and again, that warning and that remember when you do it from for example, that move task. If you have a big project and you don't want to scroll and you can just move your task from here. So you're gonna have those warning as well from those UI, and that remember is going to be there too. Just a reminder, we have that shortcut menu that is available. So last webinar, we've talked about the keyboard navigation for efficiency. So it's available from here. We've bonify it as well with the new comment, the new key shortcuts. And for example, in here as well, the last thing is maybe that we have resolved that task, and so we have that completed, that you can easily go in and change from your right click. So instead of going to the menu above, instead of remembering all the keyboard shortcut, now you can just right click everywhere and you're going to be able to do more. There's one more that we didn't show, which is the subtask level. It doesn't work because of the filter, but we have the subtask if you want to group and filter out your project. It's not new, so I won't be talking about that. Do you have any question? Not so far. Don't hesitate if you have any comments or question. We'll answer it right away and I can showcase it. Otherwise, I'm going to move and I'm going to talk a little bit more about the assignment and a little bit about the resource planner, where we did some improvement too. Okay, let's move in then. So here you can see that on that specific task, I'm Roxanne Green is assigned on that task. So if I click on our avatar, I'm going to get to that task panel of the detail of the task. And in this specific case, we're looking at the schedule and the resource schedule for that resource. So from those dates, it's 3 hours, so it's 38% of our day. And one feature that those are feature that we say, why didn't we have those before? So a lot of our customers are going to be happy. We have that small X here, so you can easily delete a task assignment schedule right from the right side panel. Before you could do it, but there was a lot more click. So now it's available directly from here. So now this task is not assigned. As you can see, nobody's assigned on that task. So let's say I want to add somebody else. I'm not putting back, but we have also, and I'm bringing that new feature as well here, that show community user, meaning that when you have a long list of, when you use first community, customer community to share your project with your customer, you're getting a very long list of customer mixed with your resource. So now we're filtering those out. So if you want to see your community user, you can see it. Otherwise, by default, it's not going to show your community user at all. Okay, so let me assign me back to that specific task. So that show community is also user is also available when you're assigning people in a project itself, so you don't see the full list, and we're gonna make sure that it's also there in the planner moving forward. Yep.
Personally, I've been using this remove resource so many times since it was released. Saving me so much time.
Yeah, keeping your project tight and clean.
That one is and the right clicks, like the right clicks. I live by
Perfect,
that.
huh? Okay, so from here, what we're going to do, we're going to open up the resource planner. So, and we're going to be looking at the improvement we did on the resource planner. Mainly, it's the menu and a few feature as well. And as you see as well, we have revamped our color scheme. Again, if you want to copy it, we're going to send it afterwards. Here in our resource planner, it's just a different lens, right? We have project, we have task, we have resource, and then we can see them in a timeline, but we can see them grouped by resource, as we can see here with our placeholder. And if we're looking at the menu here on top, we have our refresh button. We have the expand and collapse. I want to just point out those color coding here. For example, the pink one means that those are pipeline project. They haven't been sold yet, while blue means booked, meaning that, and we'll see that legend moving forward a little bit later on. You could switch your calendar view again if you want to see it by month, by week, or by day. And put it full screen when you have a lot of resource you want to look into. And then we've grouped all the kind of setup. So if you want to look at if you want to look at your schedule or plan, if you want to change the scale of what you're looking at, the grouping and the color coding range, it's all available from that gear here. The toggle, there's a few cool features. First, you can now see in both hours and percentages at the same time. So meaning that and this does work if you're looking at months or in week, meaning that you can really easily see who's overbooked and who's under schedule. And then you can make some changes. So we have all that information below in terms of their scheduling. So those seen hours and percentage are very interesting. Also, Nathalie just pointed me out before this webinar that billable project only, it's something that customer don't use enough, and that toggle is also available. Like Rosalie said in the beginning, you should definitely explore all our menu and try all the buttons, so you can see what you can do with it. Our filters are here. We're looking as well at improvement on the filter side for the future release, and we have our presets. You can download. And we have that legend with the pipeline book, and we're going to bonify that legend with the other color as well. I'm not sure if it's in the next release or the near release after, but the full legend is going to be available also. Did I forget anything? Okay, so now let's look at switch gear and let's look at the standard project page. So I'm going to open up Roxanne, and she's assigned on this project we've been looking at. So let me open up the standard record view of our project. So something that I haven't showed yet today, and that is still very useful. And we've also added some of our newest component, or we reintroduced, should I say, a component here, which is our KPI component. Where you can see for a billable project, it's very intuitive, and it's very at a glance. Again, you can see all that information. So that component here on top has been reintroduced in this release. You just have to drop it in your page if you want to add it. So for existing customer, we cannot change your page layout when we are upgrading, because you might have done some change and the package cannot override. So this is true for us and all app on the App Exchange, meaning that when you have add-on like this, you need to do it yourself. So just go ahead and edit your page, or ask your Salesforce admin, but just by going here, edit page, edit object, you're going to be able, edit page, you're going to be able to drop that LWC project KPI component. And from here, what I want to show you is the other things we did in terms of the project status report. It's a small improvement, but in the project status report, a lot of customers are starting to use it because, again, awareness, they were not aware that this was out of the box available to them. But when you send it directly via email here, we're going to be logging into, as a standard Salesforce activity, we're going to be logging a trace of that project status that has been sold. And the way that we do this at Klient is that every week we're looking if all our project status across all our projects have been sent, meaning that we're on track, we're transparent, and meaning that usually that with that you ensure that you're going to deliver successful project every time. So this is a key component of monitoring and tracking, just being able to track that information here and having it with that project status report and a one-click access to your project manager. This is a time saver. So project status report, it's definitely something that you guys should be using if you're not doing it already.
Yeah, this is really one of those easy features that you can set up, easy functionality you can set up and start using. There's
Yeah, exactly.
much time involved too. Yeah.
Okay, and just to finish on the color scheme, because we did the other webinar, we looked at the menu bar. This was the first one that was released in the previous release. Now we've released the resource planner and the workspace, but also the color coding, and you see on top of the columns has been set up, and as well as the priority color coding on the Kanban has also been changed. So this is mainly what has been changed here, and Kanban color. Perfect. So I think I'm done on this, and let me go switch and show you now where we can change all those color because we've bonified the color mapping page. It's available for the global menu, and then you can pick up all the project status color, assignment status color, the task status color, etc., and you can just edit those yourself or pick the color code that we are using here if you want to copy ours.
Yeah, maybe a quick to-do after the webinar is just head over to that color mapping and just check that everything's been set up on your end, because we've talked with some customers where they didn't even know it was there. So maybe you have just one of them that is set up. So again, a quick win.
I'm just looking at my list. I think I'm pretty much done. The only thing left, it's not a full feature, a new feature. It's an improvement to it. So we have that client preload button, and Rosalie will talk about it during the content review that we've created. But client preload, it's because of security purposes. Every time that at the beginning of each day, Salesforce cache more information the first time you access some of your objects or interface. So we've created this button, so it's gonna make your Salesforce and your client experience faster. So now we have that new message, so that's that new part. But please add that client preload button in your global actions here and show your people how to use it, because when you do this, it's gonna open up 20 tabs. It's gonna take 32 seconds to do. But after that, everything is going to be faster for your entire duration of your browser session. So client preload, seriously, it's something that before doing a demo or before using the platform every morning, I'm always pressing it. You should all do it too. We understand you saw that was pretty smooth, right? The demo today, even if I'm a bad internet connection. So meaning that that preload does work. So I think I'm done, Rosalie. Did I forget anything in terms of?
No, I think you covered everything. And just to like after the webinar, we send you a follow-up email, and there's the deck, which we have links to all those features that Yanick talked about, plus all the fixes and all the improvement that were made. So if you want the full list, you can just go through that slide. So the new features, and then you have the next one, improvements, have little stars for the one we think are super cool. And then the one after the fixes. There's really a lot in that release, by the way, especially for improvement and fixes. So if you don't know what to do during your lunch break.
Yeah, congrats to the entire team. Seriously, yeah. It's exciting.
Yeah. All right, so just before we move on to the next section, let's just go ahead and launch a quick poll. Again, we're sharing that with our product team. So we want to know which new functionalities that we showed are you most excited about. So you can just go over and click on a couple of them. Those are all the ones we mentioned. So a couple of things related to the workspace. We have the right click, the flexibility with the filters applied, the color mapping, community user and search, resource planner, menu bar redesign, and the project analytics component. So I'll give you a couple of seconds on that, and then we'll go ahead and
means those two.
Map.
I don't want to influence the vote, but those two columns, I love them.
And then this is really a good occasion after, like, if there are some features like you really like, you're excited, just drop us a quick message like, hey, this is super cool, it's going to be so useful to us. And then we can share with the product team who doesn't speak to a customer often enough, but it's always nice to get feedback, positive feedback.
And or improvement. We always like to improve.
All right. So I'm going to end the poll, and it looks like, well, it's very varied. I think the project analytics component is the most popular one, Yanick.
Oh yeah, wow, cool. Awesome.
Yeah, that one and the menu
surprised.
bar redesign. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, the menu bar, it's changing the entire look. So
All right, so let's have a look. Yeah, thanks, Yannick. Let's have a look at our product roadmap for the future. What we're showing is just a screenshot of the client community. So we have a roadmap tab that you can access if you want to see what our team is working on, and we update it every couple of weeks. Our next release is due tomorrow. It's not going to be a major release, so there's just a couple of things. But our next major release is going to be for 9.11. It's going to come at the end of November. Those are the items that you're seeing here, and that I'll talk a little bit about. That one is heavily focused on the resource planner, if you're seeing a pattern here. So a couple of things. We're going to have the workspace column sorting. Which means like in your column, you're going to be able to put an order of ascending or descending. So thinking like the start date, for example, you can put it in order or even by status. So that's going to be a neat feature. Another one that a lot of people have been asking about is going to be a search function in the workspace. So if you're looking for a specific word, instead of having to go through and kind of, I don't know how you're doing it, but guess we're just not doing it. You're going to be able to search for specific text. And then resource planner, a lot of things. So we've got a lot of feedback about the resource planner. I think I've been talking about it for the past few months. A couple of things that are coming is when you're going to be creating task assignment schedule or project assignment schedule. When you create it, you're going to have better visibility on what the start and end date of that assignment is. And then when you're dragging it as well, when you're making changes, it's going to be clear as well where you're dragging it to, like what date, which right now may not be the most obvious way. We're also going to have a whole concept around task and project assignment grouping. So when you create an assignment that goes over multiple weeks, it's automatically going to group it together. And then when you make changes, you're not going to have to do it every single box. You're going to be able to make changes for that group. And then, of course, you'll be able to ungroup it if you want. And then we're going to have some new toggles as well. So in the menu that Yannick was showing, you're going to be able to hide placeholders or show them and then hide completed projects as well. I know a lot of people have asked for that. So pretty cool. And then we're going to have as well, I don't know if you're using skills or not. I've heard more and more from customers during my calls that they are. On the resource planner, you're going to have better visibility on what skill a certain resource has. So it's going to be easier than having to click. And right now you have to do a couple of steps to get that visibility. So hopefully that will help as well people use skills more. Hope. And then if you're using resource request as well, we're going to have some new views. So the view looks a little bit like resource planner, but we're going to have availability and scheduled views. And then we also have my work, which is like a completely new thing. Maybe Yannick, you want to talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, it's bringing back an older concept we had, but in a new redesigned way. So it's just a list where you can really see your priority clearly. So it's another lens, but a lens that usually the team member, the developer, or a specific team member are going to be using. So it's not a project manager view. It's really a to-do list view for everybody that has been assigned on specific tasks. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one.
Yay. All right, so I want to know how we're feeling about these different things that are coming up. So just one more poll for product team.
Sorry.
Give them the last little push they need to get those out end of November. So which upcoming functionality are you most excited about? So yeah, we just have the same that I just mentioned. We're just curious. I think I know which one is going to be more popular if I had to make a prediction, but it's the one I talked most about during the calls. Yeah. Oh, actually, yeah, I was the one about the resource plan. Is nobody excited about this search in grid in the workspace?
Yeah,
That's
there was
also
some
one I'm
hard
like,
testing.
that's what I'm gonna start using. All right. Gonna give you a couple more seconds and then we'll go into our conclusion. By the way, I'll let you answer a couple of things just to remember. This is our roadmap right now. We are super open to feedback. So just a reminder, if after today you're feeling super inspired and you have this whole list of things you'd like us to work on, email support@klient.com and send us like things you'd like us to add in the product. Very useful if you tell us like what you're trying to achieve and then how you're currently doing it or not doing it, if you're doing it some other way, and then how you'd like to do it. So the more details, the better, the easier for a team to understand like kind of the thought process here. All right, thanks for answering the poll. And actually the most waited for is the resource planner skills availability. Surprisingly
this one
well.
is it's good.
Yeah, that's great. We're probably going to work on some content around skills and proficiency in the coming weeks. So that's good news that it's a topic that's of interest to you guys. All right, let's head over to our next slide. So conclusion, we're getting to the end. I just want to highlight some content that we released this past month. These are all the new things that we created for the past few weeks. So obviously, every time we have a webinar, we put the recording on YouTube, so you can access that. And these are all hyperlinks. So after, you can just click and access easily. We also have a video on sending an NPS survey from clients. So if you're looking to do that, just watch the video. There's some quick tips there. We have a couple of features as well that we created. The feature spotlight, essentially, they're just like focusing on one specific feature you may not know about. So it's a good first read. And then after that, we have some related articles on like how to set it up, etc. The checklist, we did one because last release, we were releasing the reordering. Workspace milestone view, Yanick talked about it a little bit earlier. So if you want to read more, just check that out. And then the client preload, we mentioned there was this improvement, but that's also one we did a blog article. And then one that just dropped today is a new client tip on migrating your smart sheet to Salesforce that you can check out. All right, and then I just have a quick poll because we're developing more and more content. So we're just curious to know, and we want to make sure we're doing it the right way. So we want to know this content. Maybe you can go back to the slide before, Yanick. Did you know about this new content that was available? Yes or no? Because we just want to make sure it gets to the, the end users, which is our customers. And then which content you're most interested in. There's like a big list, but it's kind of for us to know where to focus our effort on. And then how would you like to know about new content when it's available? We're doing it a few different ways. Right now, we're posting on LinkedIn and we have it in our newsletter. But maybe that's the right way to do it. Maybe it's not. If you tell us, then we can adjust. So there's I think I put a really long list in there, but so if you can take it.
Don't make me do some TikTok, Rosalie. I don't want to do TikToks.
All right, so I'll give a couple of seconds. I'll leave this poll open a little longer, and then after we'll look at it and see if it matches what we're doing. Otherwise, we'll change how we're doing things. The last part of the webinar that I wanted to cover, and I'll put this on the side. All right, the last part, if you can go to the next slide, Yanick. Yeah, so just a couple of best practices, just little friendly reminder. There's 3 things I want to put your attention on. So just make sure every quarter you upgrade every quarter or so. So that's our recommendation. We have new release every 4 to 6 weeks. So that would be like a good thing to add to your to-do list every 3 months. Just have a little task to upgrade. Very easy. You just go to the community and grab the upgrade link. So yeah. Second thing, if you're upgrading and staying up to date, then join the webinar or watch the recording, because then you can stay up to date with all the cool things. And then you get to hear it right from Yanick. So that's nice. And then a third thing that you can do is meeting with your customer success manager every quarter again. So just again, if you do these 3 things, then you should be up to date and be able to leverage all the features that are new. All right, I'll close the poll. All right. And then one thing that I just want to mention before we finish, which would be the next slide.
So delay. Sorry, bad connection.
Oh, all right. Well, there's a slide somewhere. It's in the deck. Oh, there you go. All right. If you don't know what to do during lunchtime, you already have like the release notes to check out. But then if you have some extra time, you can head over to the App Exchange on our page and then just write a review if you're a client fan. So you can just go ahead and like review, and it really like something that we appreciate. It doesn't have to be super long, but just like what you like about client, and then other people can see it, and it's great. So I think everybody knows how that works, but this is just little ask, and that would be great. And if you do that, feel free to send us an email after, and then we can send you some really cool client goodies, and so you can like expand your fandom one level up. All right. So after today's webinar, just a little reminder, I'll be sending a follow-up email to everybody that registered. So I will include the registration link for our next webinar, as well as the slide deck. the webinar recording and some other stuff, like maybe I'll include the color code hex codes, the color hex codes. And then before you head out, just last thing, I'm gonna go ahead and put the final poll. We just want to know if you like the webinar or not. And if you have any feedback, again, we're doing this every month for you guys, so we want to make sure we're doing it right and it's helpful. So if there's anything missing, if there's anything you're like, you should really skip that, just mention it in the poll. So thank you so much. If you have any question, you can reach out to support@klient.com. And hopefully we see everybody on the next one. Thanks, Yanick.
Thank you, Rosalie. Great.
All right.
Bye.